Mr. Collins, good afternoon.
Thanks for coming. In 1 or 2 seconds, just tell us who you are. You are the best person to explain yourself.
Oh, yes, of course. My name is Sadiq, Tajuddin Sadiq Adeyemi. I'm a senior of school, theory level, studying history and education of the Faculty of Education, in the Department of Art Education. Of course, I'm in Nigeria. Of course, yes, it's nice to be here on the show.
Okay, Mr. Sadiq, is it true that you are the president of an African club?
By virtue of just opportunity, I'm the president of Pan-African Club University of Unilorin. The club is, of course, is known by the school because we have registered with the Student Affairs Unit. By the grace of God, in this year's June, the club will be 2 years. We funded that. So the club, as one of the main purpose of the club, is actually to reawaken the giants in Africa by impacting the youth and the upcoming generation about the need for us to take ownership of a lot of things about Africa. Take ownership in terms of culture, take ownership in terms of value, take ownership in terms of moral, because some of these things are eluding us, they are already not ready. So we want to actually reawaken the need for people to actually go back to these values, to this culture, to these customs, to these traditions, and take it back, because some of these things, as I said, are eroding us. They are being even taken away from us by those people that are not supposed to be. I don't want to mention names now, but I want Africa, we want Africa to take ownership of what belongs to Africa.
Alright, quick one. Can you give us a conceptual definition of Pan-Africanism?
Yes.
In your own feeling, what do you think is Pan-Africanism?
Pan-Africanism is basically and essentially, as I said, for Africa to think Africans, for Africa to think Africa, and for Africans to actually, extol and exemplify, materialize those values, morals, culture, and traditions of Africa in the real sense of it. No, without any exception, one may say it has to do with having to exemplify the values, the morals, the customs and traditions of Africa as a continent, and of course by extension the black people, because you agree with me that over 101% of any black person that you see is of African descent. So that is basically what we're trying to do.
Okay, quoting you by your words, over 101% black
that you say Africans. Yeah.
Okay, maybe your research says so, or maybe.
No, I'm just saying that I don't want to say we have 90% of black people in the world that are African, but I'm saying that if you have over 100% of black people in the world, they have African descent, and there are of course proof to that.
All right. Another quick question, Mr. Sadiq. What is the fate of this Pan-African club in the, because obviously you will not be in this institution forever.
Yes.
So what is the fate of this club?
Yeah, the fate is that
The
fate is that we're putting in a structure. Of course, I'm the president now. We are definitely going to have another president that will follow suit. We are doing a lot of things to make sure that we sustain it, because one of the major things that we set out to do in the first place is that if we cannot sustain this thing, we shouldn't just start it. Okay. Some few weeks ago, we were able to renew our registration with the school student affairs unit. That means that we are really ready to sustain it. So we are doing that. Some of the things that we're still going to be doing to make sure that we sustain it are definitely in place, and we're going to be effecting them as we progress.
All right. Pan-Africanism has to do with waking up the African spirit in Africa.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay. What are the strategies on ground from your club as a president? What are the strategies on ground in achieving the goal of bringing out the Pan-Africanism in Africans?
Yes. The goal and objective is that we are having orientation almost at every point in time that we have the opportunity to do so, because we still have to consider the fact that people are here to study. Though there are rooms for extracurricular activity, but we are not trying to burden people, our students, so to say. We are not trying to distract them, so to say, from their primary objectives. So at every point in time, we're having orientation, we're having seminars, and we're having pep talk to make sure that we impart some of the objectives of this particular club, which is basically having to reignite the spirit of Pan-Africanism as it was held and as it was materialized by people of nationalists or Africanists like Nelson Mandela, like Julius Nyerere, like Kwame Nkrumah, like Amilcar Cabral, and go on and go. Of course, the Nnamdi Azikiwe of Nigeria, Rufai Awolowo, those elevates, those pioneers, those nationalists that actually fought for independence of countries in Africa are actually people that we are making sure that we take a cue from all those things that we're able to do and put it back in the younger generation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sode.
Yeah.
The last question. Of recent, the news is that Mr. Rufai Oseni of Arise TV accepted to be the ambassador of this great Pan-African club in unilorin. What do you think will be the effect or the advantage of this great development?
Yeah, I think what we were able to do with Mr. Rufai is that he actually spoke to members of the club via Zoom. We had an orientation, and he was able to talk to us on a lot of things, because the topic of the orientation, or the program with him, was actually breaking barriers of excellence, focus on Nigerian students of the 21st century. So after having this whole talk and everything back and forth, and we sought that he became an ambassador of the club, and he gladly accepted. So which is a good thing. Yes, he being an ambassador, he said he's a top-most journalist with Arise News TV. It's something that further project the image of the club, project what we are doing, and help a lot of people to know about what we are doing. So I think he's one of the perfect fits to actually become an ambassador, and he's not going to be the last, even though he's the first.
Okay, in 2 seconds, what do you have for our audience to round up with?
Yes, my message to people there is that Africa, we have to take ownership of what belongs to us. And like he said, one of the major things that we have is mental slavery, because Africans don't want to eat their food, Africa don't want to wear their clothes, Africa don't want to do anything just because of Western inclination and Western education. But I think we should be able to strike a balance between what the Western inclination means and what Africa itself means and what it should be.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Sode.